it's one of the interesting things about Web3, right? When you're thinking about customer acquisition cost on a Web2 sense, you're always thinking in terms of cash. In Web3, you have this additional customer acquisition cost mechanism, which is the token itself. And so, one of the most infamous companies to utilize this actually has been Polygon. So, a number of the deals that they've done in the past, whether it be Starbucks or this DraftKings deal or others, well, it came out later that really what they were doing was just heavily incentivizing the use of their platform in some way.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to WagMe TV. Today we've got a fun topic, really based around the sports betting company DraftKings and Polygon or MATIC. So if you like any of the content today, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And we always love to hear any of your comments in the comments section below on any of the discussions or any of the discussions we've had in the past. But to give a really quick intro to it, of course, DraftKings, sports betting company, we're all familiar with them. They actually publicly agreed in early 2022 to be a network validator that helped run the Polygon blockchain. Really what we found out is that on-chain data shows Polygon gave DraftKings millions of MATIC to help its validator turn a massive profit with pretty little precedent. So even though it wasn't being subsidized, DraftKings failed to maintain its validator's performance and was recently kicked off the network as of last month. So that's the kind of high level. I know Evan has a little bit more detail that he wanted to go into as well. So Evan, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, sounds good. That was a great overview. And really piggybacking on that, this was a huge, important adoption milestone for Polygon that they really marketed hard in early 2022. And, it was the first time that a major publicly traded company had taken in a role in blockchain governance. And so this was kind of the rhetoric that Polygon was pushing and really pushing the corporate partnerships that they were able to bring in to their network, including DraftKings and many others. But yeah, really 20 months later after that announcement, that validator was no longer running, even after Polygon, like Mata said, had sent millions of dollars of MATIC their way and had actually tipped the scales in DraftKings favor. They had made it so that validator would have better rewards than some of the others on the network. And the interesting thing about Polygon's network is there's only 100 validators. So this is really taking, earnings or yields away from 99 of their closest partners that really help keep the network up and running. So pretty, surprising news, and definitely a partnership that did not go the way that Polygon thought they would. What do you guys think about this? Would be interested to hear you guys' thoughts.
Yeah, I've got a couple different thoughts on this. One having to do with kind of the role that these kind of deals play in the crypto ecosystem and kind of how Polygon goes about it. And then secondly, on what I think at a deeper level, one of the things that often gets missed with these types of deals as well. So when you think about crypto companies, many of them have extremely large treasuries, particularly like the L1s, the L2s. They have a huge treasury that they're kind of sitting on that they don't really know what to do with. But of course, they're trying to incentivize growth of their product, right? And so this token ends up becoming a really efficient incentive that they can use because they don't have to necessarily like pay their day-to-day bills with their token, right? So it ends up being a really easy incentive mechanism to kind of spur growth. It's one of the interesting things about Web3, right? When you're thinking about customer acquisition cost on a Web2 sense, you're always thinking in terms of cash. In the Web3, you have this additional customer acquisition cost mechanism, which is the token itself. And so one of the most infamous companies to utilize this actually has been Polygon. So a number of the deals that they've done in the past, whether it be Starbucks or this DraftKings deal or others, well, it came out later that really what they were doing was just heavily incentivizing the use of their platform in some way. So that's one thing to take note. Nothing against Polygon really for that, but it is important to note that this is a technique that they were utilizing for various growth initiatives that they have. And it's also not an unheard of thing within kind of the crypto ecosystem. The second thing, and kind of the more interesting angle here, is Evan brought up the fact that there's only 100 validators, right? And so I wonder, from a regulatory standpoint, it's often, better to be more decentralized, right? When you think about how regulators are approaching regulating Bitcoin and Ethereum, it becomes really difficult to actually nail anyone or create any sort of steadfast rule, because the platform itself is so decentralized. So because Polygon is sitting on such a large stack of MATIC, that could be another reason why they kind of attempted to do deals similar to this, which is to decentralize the network even more, right? So those are kind of my two takeaways on this. I'm curious, Sia, what do you think?
No, I think those are great points, and I feel like, especially on your first point, right? Like everyone kind of understands, at least if you're following, stocks, business, you have a general understanding of economics. Like you know the factors to acquire a customer. You're playing with cash, right? But I feel like as people become more knowledgeable about how the crypto ecosystems work, how you can go acquire a customer, why they might be leveraging their own tokens, as opposed to cash, right? What that means balance sheet wise. I feel like that makes it like, this looks more like a, something that people could get upset about, but really every crypto company theoretically should be doing that from a balance sheet perspective to acquire customers. And it seems like it's shady, but at the same time, this is just a part of what the crypto industry does, and I feel like it's a good learning moment just for people in terms of understanding when you're going to invest in a crypto company or a particular ecosystem, L2, whatever it is. Understanding that what the mechanisms are compared to just corporate business.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And you have to wonder if part of the reason for this is due to the bear market, right? And like how all this transpired and why, DraftKings maybe didn't care as much about everything that was going on from that perspective. I do have this interesting chart as well that I wanted to share. I think what it really breaks it down is validators and were the MATIC, delegated, was MATIC delegated by Polygon, and then, what was the own stake of the actual validators that are running it. Of all of these organizations, I don't think DraftKings looks nothing looks super odd, right? There's definitely a lot of groups over here on the right where MATIC did, or Polygon did delegate a lot of the MATIC to them. What is interesting are these percentages on the top is actually the commission that these organizations were earning. And DraftKings was earning 100% commission on the validator that it was running. Same with State Capital, which is interesting, but obviously not to the same level. But it is interesting to note, to me, I don't necessarily, none of these names really jump out to me, but DraftKings certainly does. And I think they kind of took advantage of the fact that they are a brand name that people know about. And that's what, Polygon was going for in this state. But I thought that was an interesting chart.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
pretty
super
interesting chart.
Yeah, even in Web3, Vegas always wins.
So
I love it.
Does anybody know why exactly what were they doing wrong? What was DraftKings doing wrong?
I don't think they got into the technical details of how they were running their validator.
Mm-hmm.
I assume, it's just DraftKings, I know they've been a tech company recently with how, online gambling has really grown a ton and they've had to scale with that. So I'm sure they've got great technical talent. I doubt they put probably their best people on this and maybe the right amount of budget that was needed. It seemed like an easy way for them to bring in, a couple $1 million without putting a lot of effort in. So I assume they just did not get a lot of, backing within the company to keep that part of the project going. But yeah, I don't think DraftKings officially commented on this. So I don't know if we'll ever know.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. it is interesting that it seems like DraftKings just kind of said, "Screw it," like.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll ever actually know, classic crypto space in general. But I know the article that we were at least referring to, it does say it's unclear why DraftKings actually allowed the Polygon validator to fall, right? I think again, right? Is it because of the the despair of the crypto market? Is it because there were so many market shifts in tech, right? As well, tech got hit pretty hard. Maybe they shifted their focus elsewhere. Maybe they had some layoffs and people were laid off that were kind of responsible for this. So I think there's a ton of different angles and ways that this could have been, this could have come about. But I don't know if we'll ever actually get to the bottom of that. So, of course, on WAGME TV, if we ever do, you'll get it here first. So anything else that anyone wants to comment on?
No, I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see, obviously, since DraftKings is a publicly traded stock as well. Like if investors start asking about it, if it comes on that radar and like they actually have to dive deeper into it on like an earnings call or something like that. You never know because people watch their balance sheets every quarter. So
totally right, especially if they're rolling in MATIC rewards through this validator. Right now it's deactivated, they're not making their however much money they were basically free of charge. That is definitely a great point. So maybe we will find out some more about it, who knows. But awesome. Yeah, if you love the content today, please give us a like below. Let us know in the comments if you have any additional information on this or if you found it helpful, useful, interesting, any of the above. But as always, we'll be here every week and we'll see you next. WAGME.